They just looked at the screen and my mom said, "Are you dancing in a bra?" I said, "It's a bralette. There is a let behind it that you're forgetting to add, mom." हम तो अभी भी कहते हैं गानों में लड़कियों के ब्यूटी शॉट्स शूट कर लो, हो गया गाना. क्या होता है ब्यूटी शॉट्स? कॉन्सेप्ट वर्ड क्या होता है? I didn't get cast early on in films because I didn't fit into the lead heroine mold.
Hi Nushrratt, thank you so much for speaking with Brut.
Of course, I'm very happy to be here.
So I wanted to talk to you about what being a celebrity in today's time is like. We all know that the paparazzi culture has become an integral part of the business now. Do you feel, the need to be put together when you're going to the airport or the gym, even when you're not promoting something just because paps are going to be there?
Initially, yes. I did, of course, fall prey to that, and I guess a lot of people do. And actually, it's not even prey. I guess there's an excitement to do that also in the beginning. You want to do it. You see other people's pap images and you're like, oh, this was fun. And then you want to up it and do something when you're being captured and put up there. So yeah, first few times I used to call my stylist and say, hi, listen, let's do a look. Yeah, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm somebody who enjoys doing looks. I like putting things together, creatively putting things together. Just like yesterday, I don't know if people have done this before, but I wore a white kurta and then put a blazer on it, on jeans. And she said, nobody does Indian kurta and blazer. I said, watch me. I'm doing it. I just liked it. So I liked that process in the beginning, so I did it. But now I've just become very normal. And I think I've become very okay about it. Or maybe I can't put in that much time and effort now in that. I would rather just wake up, pick up something from my wardrobe that I'm comfortable in. But I do have a decent, I guess, aesthetic sense or style sense, I don't know. That even if I just randomly pull something over and go, it's still okay. Of course, I check my own paps to see that, was I looking okay or was I like a terrible mess? But when I see them, I'm like, okay, I'm wearing a shirt and a pant, it's fine. I'm wearing a jeans and a sweatshirt, I'm fine. So I think I've become normal with myself only like that now I can't really put so much effort into it and I don't get bothered by it so much. And I really cannot do airport looks or gym looks. I can't. I think it's only the red carpets or the main events that you have to get ready for that I do it.
But in the beginning, did you feel a pressure to, buy designer outfits, accessories, and also not repeat them in public or on social media?
Yes, of course I did. I had a lot of people tell me, oh, you should be spotted in this designer, you should be wearing this, you should be wearing that, because you will then be picked up by the fashion press. You'll be written about and they'll talk about your outfit and the brand you're wearing and how much it costs, and it just seemed like nonsense jargon to me after a point. I mean, I guess it's relevant to the people who are living in that field. For the press and the fashionistas or the stylists, that is their actual, day in and day out. They live that. But I don't necessarily live that. I'm an actor. I want to work in scripts and films and do characters. So I cannot be bothered about that. You want to bring that for me? Bring it. You want me to be spotted in that? Great. I can't do beyond a certain level for it. I can't be obsessed about it, or I can't be running after it. I can't be bothered by it. It has to organically fall into place. Okay. If it doesn't, I'm okay. I'll go in my jeans and t-shirt or my white shirt. I love my white shirts. Just wear a white shirt, shorts and go. Simple. I'm very happy with that.
How much of your public image is managed by you and how much of it is what your PR tells you?
Managed by me completely. Honestly, my PR sometimes tells me, don't do this. And I said, but why? Don't say this. And I said, but why? I genuinely resonate with this. I believe this. And I want to say it. They have to tell me what not to do sometimes. And I still go ahead and do it because they know me. If they tell me don't do this, I'll be the first person to do it. So they choose silence. She's silently sitting here, smiling, saying, why are you saying this? But I'm saying it. No, it's managed by me completely. In fact, I'm slightly more, I don't know how to say it. I don't do a lot. I really don't. I don't believe in I don't like too much of things being spoken about me, if you know what I mean. I'm a little bit of a shy personality in terms of being in the limelight. I'm happier if I walk from the side and leave. Like, okay, I'm going from here, guys. It's okay. You don't need to like. I'm okay just taking like another route. I am that person, and so too much spotlight on me and too much camera on me and too many people kind of, I feel like, okay, I can take it down a notch. It's too much. I don't need it. I'm fine. So I like doing it my way, and therefore there's less for me to do. I don't do so much, so it's easier to manage.
So, can you give me an example of something that you were told not to do to fit into the industry image?
Not to do to fit into the industry image. Oh no, to do to fit into the industry image.
Yeah, either something that you asked to change about yourself or something that you asked to do specifically.
Oh, I was asked to change my stylist a lot of times. I still have the same one. She's right here. I was asked to, I was asked to kind of start associating myself to the right kind of spottings, the right kind of brands, the right kind of, you know how it is, everything is an association these days, which I don't understand is why. If you like something, buy that and use that. Why does that have to get added to your association and hence your rise or your where you are in the chart of things? I don't get that. So I guess that is one advice I've probably not taken, because I said no, I'm okay with what I'm doing. I'm fine.
Do you also maybe look up your fellow actors on social media, see how many followers they have, that kind of stuff?
No. Sorry, the followers game is never. Maybe that's another advice I've not taken. But that's not, but it could be the same. It's the same thing. I've had people say you really need to up your social media game. Like your followers are not increasing. They've been a certain number for a while and the traction is not there. So I said, okay, so what am I supposed to do? Like, what do you suggest? And they said, post more regularly. So create more content, do some reels, do some shoots. I can't do it. I'm sorry, but I can't. I feel like how much of my time and energy do I spend in doing that? Then when do I actually prep for a film or a role? When do I read 30 scripts that are lying that I have to read and revert to? I think with the fact that the media has blown up so much, people have gotten consumed in doing so many different things that I don't know where they're going to find the time to do one thing properly. Like if I really need to read a script and be there, I cannot be bothered about when was the last time I posted. Did that drop my followers or up my followers? Oh, look, I actually never know what is a trending reel or a trending something. I have no idea. I think I have till date not consumed reels. Like I don't scroll up on reels at all. I don't know how to do that. So very recently there was a group on my Instagram that I made with 2-3 of my girlfriends, and one of some reel must have popped up and I was like, oh, this is funny. So I sent it to them on the group because they keep sending reels on the group. They've actually called me and they said, what is wrong with you? This is 2 years old. I said, what? She said, this was 2 years back. You're sending us a reel outdated of 2 years. I said, sorry, it's not my area at all. I don't get it. So I didn't follow that advice and I still just post when I have something to post. And if you see some reels of mine, they're very something that just happened and I did something and put it. It's very me. It's not something I would do because other people are doing it or it's trending. I can't spend so much time on it or energy on it.
So do you, go through your comments and messages? Is that something you do?
Sometimes I scroll and read maybe the first 10, 20 comments.
So what are the kinds of messages you get from people when they want to express an opinion about your work or you being in the public domain?
You know, there was a poster that I had posted for a film of mine called Janhit, where the first 2-3 posters were to kind of tell people कि आप गलत चीज़ को देख रहे हो, it's because आपका नज़रिया गलत है. So it was done as an illicit campaign of the film. And those comments were atrocious. But we were expecting them to be these kind because that is exactly what we want to call out. Ki, haan, this is why we are making this film because this is how you're thinking. I think that was the one time I actually read comments through and through. And I really got so affected by it that I was sitting in a dubbing studio And I just picked up my phone and I shot a selfie video in an answer to them, and I posted it. I didn't even like think twice. I just said it, which I don't generally do. I read a comment and I'm not someone to really give it back in that sense. But at that point I did. And I did make that video and I put it out.
मैंने अपने Instagram पे 2 posters डाले जिसमें मैं एक वुमनिया कॉन्डम इस्तेमाल करने का खुलेआम प्रचार कर रही हूँ.
But when I read normal comments, there are good, bad and ugly in equal measure. There are people who genuinely tell me what they think of me and what they feel for me, whether it's how I started, whether how I'm doing, whether where I've reached, whether it's a look, whether it's a sari. I have a lot of people telling me I do saris really well, like I carry them very well and I have a great taste in saris. It's great, I've never thought of it, but it's great to hear that. And then I have a lot of people say a lot of other things also all the time, which have nothing to do with me, and it's just odd. Maine kaha, are you sure you're writing this under the right girl's profile? Maybe it was somebody else that you've mistaken for me, I don't know. But it's all there. You just have to leave it there.
Do you think people have more opinions about women in the public domain than men?
Yeah, I do definitely think there is a gender bias in terms of, we do get a lot of flack. And I think the main reason for that is that we are expected to be a certain way. Like a girl has to be that good behavior girl, or that, oh, kitni pyari hai, kitni संस्कारी है, कितनी rooted to our culture है, कितनी, वो सारे अभी भी रहते हैं thoughts और conversations. और हमें एक mold में डाला जाना छोड़ो, हमें उसी mold में देखना पसंद है लोगों को. So if you find any girl who's slightly off that or out of that, people think they have the right to bring them down, to call them out, to, if it's abusive language, it's abusive language. If it's saying कि basically कैसे कर सकती है तू, क्या समझती है तू अपने आप को, something like that, like how dare you fall out of line, or how dare you behave like this, or how dare you say this. क्या बोलेंगे? I think a lot of women have broken out and made a life and a world for themselves to exist beyond the usual expectations of who they are, and they are happy in their lives, their families are happy with them, their parents are happy with them. तो आप कौन हो इससे ज़्यादा उनको सवाल पूछने के लिए? It's a world that we all live in, and everybody has equal rights to live the way they want to live. Your opinion and your thought of it should not bring a person down, should not.
You know, when you speak of women being put in a certain mold, I want to bring that to a slightly related question. Do you think that women in the film industry particularly have a certain beauty standard that they're expected to adhere to, whether it is a body type, certain kind of features? Is that something that you think there's a pressure on women in the film industry?
It's always been there. I didn't get cast early on in films because I didn't fit into the lead heroine mold, where they wanted to see her in with a certain height, or with a certain look, with a certain personality. I've also had people tell me you need a certain shape of eyes, like almond eyes, badi aankhein honi chahiye, captivating honi chahiye. Mujhe nahi samajh aata. So it's always been there. The idea of beauty and a heroine in a film or an actress has always kind of been correlated and synced. हम तो अभी भी कहते हैं गानों में लड़कियों के ब्यूटी शॉट्स शूट कर लो, हो गया गाना. क्या होता है ब्यूटी शॉट्स? कॉन्सेप्ट वर्ड क्या होता है कि आप उसकी सुंदरता दिखा दो 4 बार गाने में. That's all there is. We don't need anything more. या अब मे बी 3 और हुक स्टेप्स करवा दीजिए डांस. That's all there is. Don't need anything else. So of course there is a very high expectation of looking a certain way, dressing a certain way, because the films are seen from a male gaze, right? And from a male gaze, the girl has to look beautiful. She has to look a certain way. She has to look desirable. And she also still has to look very girl next door, very like sanskari. And there has to be an equal measure of it. So, गानों में थोड़ा glam up हो जाते हैं, but scenes में हम बहुत ही सुंदर, normal, सती सावित्री लड़की के इसमें देखना चाहते हैं उसे. Of course, people have broken out of those molds and done other things, but on a larger scale, that's how girls are expected to be. And when I was auditioning and when I was trying to make a path, I was rejected because I didn't fit into any of it. But I'm very glad that times changed, people changed. They found beauty even in irregularities now. They found beauty even in anything that was not fitting into the norm. Even that was seeming beautiful, and it is beautiful. So it's opened up a wider kind of acceptance of what beauty is now. And hence, I feel as women and as actors in the industry, we have a far more respected, far more flourishing, and a far longer run as actresses in the film industry now.
You mentioned that you faced rejection early on in your career because of the comments you got. You didn't fit into certain molds. What were some of the comments you got and how did you deal with it?
You just saw a picture of mine from years ago. Do you really think that girl fit in anywhere? Listen, I had maroon burgundy permed hair. I had glasses. I had no idea what lipstick meant or what eyebrows meant or what hair meant or what clothes meant. I remember I went into an audition or a meeting a producer once for some TV show back then in Osho chappals, in torn baggy jeans and a sports t-shirt with a crossbody jhola. Then nobody wore crossbodies then. Nobody had any idea. And I was chashma and I was a mess. I came from Jain College in a train all the way to Andheri, to sweat, dirt, everything. And I've entered a room and there are girls sitting like top to bottom, hair, makeup, heel, clothes, top, tank top, jeans. Maine kaha, Huh? I said, what exactly am I doing here? I went up to the receptionist and I said, सुनो मेरा नाम लिस्ट में से काट दो. बोले वो आई ही नहीं. So they said, why? I said, क्योंकि मैं ready नहीं हूँ. ये क्या है ये लोग? I'm not going to get this part. Why am I even here? Please let me go home. And I got that part. I don't know how. I don't know what that producer or that team saw in me. I can't tell you what I look like. I look like that from the picture, trust me. But they cast me and things like that happen and there's no explanation to it. It fell in place for me at that moment and 3 days later I was on a set shooting a TV show. I don't know how, but I was.
So what was your first day on set like?
Oh, very embarrassing, very nervous because I went in and now suddenly from that permed burgundy hair, they were straightening it and they were adding all these jewelry and makeup and, the right kind of look for a TV actress or in terms of a college-going girl then. And I was on set and they literally asked me, my director from behind the camera. It was a huge kind of living room of a bungalow. And they said, go get that light. Or catch that light. Sorry, they said, catch that light. Which basically means turn so your face gets that light, right? I was like, oh, okay, ma'am, sure. And then they were setting up. So I walked and literally caught the light with the stand. And I said, and do what now? I caught it. But what do I do? Do I have to shift it somewhere? I don't know, what do I do catching a light? And when I said that, the whole set froze. And they just looked at me like they've never seen somebody so clueless or so dumb in their lives. And nobody still came and told me that. They just said, okay, we're going to ignore that has happened. Somebody asked her to please stand on mark and say her lines. So I was again asked to come on mark and I told my lines and in the break, I went and asked someone, I said, what was that? Like, why did they ask me to catch the light? And then I was explained what catching a light means. Too funny.
But how did the idea of acting come about? You don't really come from a film family. You said that it's not something that you grew up dreaming of doing. How did the idea come about?
My dad. My dad has done a few plays in his college years. We lived right next to Prithvi, still live right next to Prithvi. So he's done a few plays there. He had a group of theatre friends that he would go and hang with and watch their plays. So while growing up, my father took me to a lot of plays. So I guess from a young age, he kept taking me to these places. So wo impression padta gaya, but it didn't, like the whole idea didn't fully form in me. There were just germs of them floating in my head. Then I had a school summer break for about 40 days, 50 days. And my dad had some theatre friends. And they said, what is she going to do? Like, she's on a break, she'll waste her time gallivanting with friends here and there. Send her to do this play. We're doing like a short play. Come, let her come and workshop and let her just do any part. I said, sure, okay, 2 hours a day, I'll go for theatre class. So I went to this one hall place where they would rehearse. And I did 1 or 2 commercial plays, like a Gujarati commercial play or Hindi commercial play. just for fun. There were no serious parts in it. It was just small parts here and there. But I had a lot of fun. Like, I genuinely had a lot of fun. Whether it was the group or whether it was the age I was in or whether the plays were just fun. I don't know what it was. But so all of those things slightly pushed me even more towards being comfortable with this whole form of acting, of emoting, of delivering a dialogue. I think it started from that, and then it led to this. Then it led to films.
So your parents have always been very supportive of your decision to become an actor professionally.
Yes, they have. Both mom and dad. In fact, my dadi also. Yeah, of course, there were extended family and society pressures of the fact that, okay, now she's come of age and she should get married and she's the only child, and I come from a Bori Muslim family. So we have a certain, this thing of girls get married at a certain age and just the proper right thing to do. So that time there was a lot of this thing that, hi, okay, you did a few films and did what you wanted to. Now get married, get settled, and just, start a family. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. Because I knew they came from care, and I knew they came from concern, and they came from a life they have lived and what they understand. It comes from that, and I respect that, and I value the care. But it took time for, I think, my family to understand me, to understand that I was now taken in by a much larger dream or a much larger future or a vision. It consumed me.
So did these comments come in the early stages of your career, or was this after you found success?
That started before I did a film. That happened after I did Pyar Ka Panchnama. That happened after it became a success as well. Because for them, they thought hobby hai, picture karni hai usse, man hai bachchi ka, to kar lo. It was never a serious kind of forever profession. Like, they always thought that kuch saal karegi, fir okay. Which is what I'm telling you. It took time for them to understand that that's not how I see it. That's not how I'm living it. I'm okay if I don't have a certain thing in life or a certain जो उनके हिसाब से ये तो होना ही चाहिए ज़िंदगी में. ठीक है, मेरे पास नहीं हुआ, चलेगा मुझे. But मुझे ये चाहिए. ये मुझे करना है. And that was a hard choice. I made it. I chose this over getting married or having kids or having something else to do. I don't know what that something else is. I never really even put myself there. So it's funny when I see women who are married and who are very happy and have kids. It's so funny, I look at them and I feel like how nice, yeah. I love it. I love that you have a nice world of your own and you're so happy and you have a great, family and like people. But I'm also very happy in my life. I don't know how, I love both. And I don't feel like I missed out on something or I sacrificed something.
You've, of course, said that your parents have been very supportive, but you've also said, in earlier interviews that you were hesitant in communicating certain outfit choices, for example, to them. Has that changed over the years? And have those conversations at home become easier?
Yeah, my parents actually never knew what I was doing in a film. I knew that they would get bothered, but I knew they wouldn't get bothered to a point where they'll kill me or something, or they'll get really angry with me. I knew they'll be okay with it at some point. So this comment is actually when I shot that song Chote Chote Peg from Sonu Ki Sweetie. And it came out, and I remember my parents were watching it for the first time on YouTube, and I was in the room with them. And my dadi was there, and my mum and my dad and my dadi, and they just looked at the screen, and my mum said, "Are you dancing in a bra?" I said, "It's a bralette. There is a let behind it that you're forgetting to add, Mom." And they looked at me saying, "What does that even mean?" I said, it's a top, but like a shorter version and a longer version of something together. I don't know. So yeah, they were pretty shocked that I was in that outfit. They've not seen that before. But they had an issue even in Pyar Ka Panchnama 1 when we had to wear a bikini, and they said, no, it's not happening. My daughter's not going to be in a bikini on a big screen. No. So it took a lot of conversations between my dad and the filmmakers to say that, but sir, you know, we really need this in the song, and the other girls are wearing it, and it was like a back and forth. But then hell, in Pyar Ka Panchnama 2, I was in a bikini. So I think it just took a little time and a little patience to kind of get okay with the unknown, because for them it was unknown. Nobody had done that before, and it was just odd for them even to kind of wrap their heads around it. But that's why I love them to death, because they did wrap their heads around it, and they still let me do it, and I'm still here doing it.
You've talked about how, of course, your family's opinions have been key in shaping your own career and your choices. You've also mentioned in an earlier interview that your family was very vocal against female genital mutilation.
Yes.
How did that shape your perspective on the issue yourself? And how were those conversations at home growing up?
You know what they did was, they made their choices, which were their own brave choices, so that I could live in a house where this was never an issue. We never talked about it because it didn't exist. So I actually was born and I grew up in a house, in a world where I was like, what? This happens? That was shocking. Apart from a house where somebody who didn't do it would be like, Hari, how could you have not done it? I didn't even know it was being done. And I owe it to my mom and I owe it to my grandmother, because they said there's no way our daughter is going through this. It's not happening. We're not allowing it. And I mean, because I was a child, of course, I wasn't even told about what it was till I grew up of a certain age, because it's scarring to even imagine it or to even talk about it. So I grew up in a house where this was not even talked about, because it's like, ये तो होता ही नहीं है, करने ही नहीं वाले हम. That's how nurturing an environment they made for me to grow up in.
So at what point did you find out about it and develop your opinions on it?
I found out about it the day my mom told me her experience of it and what she went through, and it killed me, because I just couldn't imagine my own mom go through such excruciating pain and such a process at such an early age, and how it had such a lasting impact on her that years later, when she had her own daughter, she said, I'm not letting you all touch her. She fought that fight for me, and I didn't even know she was fighting it. That's, I think, the first memory I have of knowing what it was and learning about it through somebody else's trauma of it, instead of it being a practice that is being talked about. It was introduced to me in my life as a trauma my mother had gone through. And hence for me, it's a trauma nobody should ever have to go through.
Do you think this has also shaped your own career choices when you do films with social messages? Like you've done films on marital rape, on female feticide, and other such subjects. Is this something that has shaped your decision to do so?
I think a lot of it has shaped my decision to do so. I think I grew up in a house, like my aunt was a journalist. She was in Midday, Daily, Gulf News. She was a very progressive woman. She still is. She was the first girl, I think, in my entire family who went on a solo girls trip with her best friend. And I don't know how that happened, because at that time, there was no way they would have let two girls travel wherever alone, but she did it. She was the first person to get married outside our caste, which is again a very big issue on a larger family point of view. But she did it, and she still has her own surname. She's not even changed her surname. When I'm surrounded by women like that, my grandmother, till date, is the one person who's always said, "Karne do usse, uska man hai, usse karne do." I don't think she has ever gotten up and said, no, you can't let her do this, and hamari naam aur hamara parivar. It's never happened. So I think I'm blessed because I grew up in the right environment and house, and I have family, and I have extended family and cousins who really are very prolific, I guess, in their own choices they've made in life, and also allowing us to have our own choices. By that I mean their own children.
So what are the criteria you look for when saying yes to a script?
I think the story for me is the biggest criteria. It has to connect to me at some level. It has to speak to me at some level. I have to be excited about this new world I'm going to get into. Does it always have to have a social message? No. I really enjoy my entertainers. I really enjoy my songs. I really enjoy my comedy. I really enjoy the drama. Like, I enjoy various aspects of a story and how it's written. If you can keep me engaged in your entire story, and if you can get my attention, if you can get me like there, then I want to do it. Then I want to be one of the characters in your stories. I want to do it.
What would you say has been your most challenging role so far, and what was it that made it challenging?
Chori won. And I think what made it challenging was the fact that it was the first film like that I did where I was in a very unreal setting. The story was far from anything I had done before or anything I had been put through before. And it was a lot of things that happened to Sakshi in that film. And I just did not know how I was going to go through it. So for me, challenging also, for me, the most memorable also, because I put myself through those things and I went through it. I did it. So I was like, oh, I did this. I actually put this out on celluloid. It's in the cans. I've shot it. I brought it to life. I've done it. So it was challenging and rewarding both at the same time. So Chori won.
And what can the audience expect from its sequel?
I think you will, if you've liked Chori 1, it's the similar world, similar milieu. We've kept it very organic to what the first one was. From where we came, we said it with the same kind of responsibility, same taste, same ethos. I think we've picked another very horrifying conversation, which we'll have later in life. Which also meant a lot to all of us. And we said that this is what we need to speak about next. So that's why we went back and wrote a Chori 2. There was no idea of a Chori 2 initially. There was no thought that the film will go ahead. But because we had this topic, which was something that really also kind of connected with us, and we said, let's say this, let's do this. So you will be in for another surprise. You'll be shocked, you'll be scared, you'll be horrified, and you'll also at your gut feel like, how is this happening? Like, is this also happening? Are we still in that world? But I guess we are.